Hello, welcome back to Fred in the Shed. We're back up in the Radio Shack. I hope you're well today. Now, one thing I've noticed in recent weeks, and I think this is since the tariff system was introduced in the USA, is that prices of products to the UK are falling from China. They seem to be dropping at an extraordinary rate. And I was looking around the Banggood website and I couldn't help but notice that this radio, which is the ATS20 Plus. The price of this radio is currently, as I'm making this video, with my discount, is currently £20.24. A couple of quid post and packaging if you don't spend over £40. But £20 for a sideband shortwave AM FM radio. And it's quite a decent little radio as well, using the, the 4732 chip. Now, I have made a couple of videos on this radio before when it was a higher price, so I'm not going to do a full review on it. I'll direct you to those videos in the description. Don't want to do the same work twice. But just to give you a little bit of history, the original ATS20, when it was launched, was quite revolutionary. This launched at about £50, and it seemed quite a bargain then. It was good build quality, has a metal sort of box chassis, if you like, decent sized speaker on the top of the radio, BNC connector on the back, and it received shortwave and upper and lower sideband. Quite good. A couple of little things you had to put up with, but we'll get round to that in a minute. Let down though, badly let down by an encoder. This rotator encoder here, which also is a push encoder, very, very quickly started to foul, and that was a problem for this radio. Some people did manage to replace it. I never bothered. But in fair credit to ATS, even though they'd gone on and they'd developed the ATS25, which was a better radio with a bigger screen, they did take on the problem and they solved it by the ATS20 Plus, which has the same encoder as the more expensive ATS25. And with this encoder, you don't get any of this bounce problem that we had on the original version. And also the price had dropped. I think by the time that I reviewed this, we were down to just about £40, maybe a couple of quid less when it was on sale, which was an incredibly good price. But like I say now, amazingly, at the moment, to the UK, £20, and it makes this an extraordinary value radio. I mean, there's nothing else I can say other than perhaps a USB dongle when you've got to run it on a laptop or a PC. There's nothing else that you're going to get for £20 that's going to give you sideband, upper and lower sideband. Covers a broad spectrum of HF frequencies on shortwave. I can't remember exactly. I think it goes down to something like 2 megahertz all the way up to 30 megahertz. Covers the 11 meter CB band. Unfortunately, does not cover the FM band, which we use in the UK. It's just something they don't do. It's a shame, really. But I did a video before. I've only got, I think, 4 radios that actually cover the FM. So we forgo that. But I can forgive it at £20. But what you do get is a decent, good quality little sideband radio. Let's have a closer look on the bench and then we'll do some outside testing and we can hear it in action. I don't know if you can hear that. If you can hear any birds screeching, in the corner of the shack over there, in the guttering outside, we've got a little nest of starlings. They've had chicks and they're very, very hungry. And all I can hear all day up here is beep, 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 beep. So yeah, if you hear that, that's what it is. Anyway, let's have a closer look at this. Let's just have a very quick look at what you get in the box. You obviously don't get a great deal for £20, but they give you the basics. Firstly, some stick-on black rubber feet. Stop it moving around. Then you get a BNC telescopic antenna, and it's a good length, this one. I haven't measured it, but it's a good, I would say, 60 or 70 centimetres, which means as well as FM, that would also bring in the broadcast shortwave band and maybe a little bit of 40 metres, because that can come in quite strong in my location. Of course, you're always going to need to attach a indoor loop antenna or maybe a long wire antenna. By the time this video comes out, I should have done a video actually on a long wire. I had some quite good results, even in a small garden. So we get that. USB-C lead for charging, but not for programming the radio, because you can update the firmware on this radio now. I'll explain that in a moment. So yeah, USB-C for charging, and that's really about it. Sometimes you get a little pointer thing. Don't know why, because it's not a touch screen, but on this one we haven't got it. Let me just put these rubber feet on the radio, stop it sliding around. On this video I'm looking at this radio with fresh eyes, and I completely need to reevaluate my opinion when I did the full review, because that was when the radio cost twice the price. So going to be a lot more forgiving for a radio that costs just £20. First thing about the radio that you do have to live with though is the screen. The plus side, it's a very, very sharp screen, but as you can see, it is absolutely tiny. We're about an inch across there, 3/4 of an inch high. It's a mono screen, not a colour screen. Very, very sharp, very, very clear, but depending on your eyesight, if you're getting on a bit like me, you probably need your reading glasses. But that's really my only criticism of the layout on the radio. A good thing is the fact you've got all of these little tiny switch controls here on the front. Saves you going into the menu. Easy press there, up and down for the bands, through long wave, and then onto the short wave bands. The volume control is an up and down press on the volume. It would have been nicer maybe if you could have pressed the sort of VFO, and that would change to the volume. Bandwidth, filtering, again on the button there, that's good. Step rate on the button, and then the AGC control, which you'll probably want to turn off when you use upper and lower sideband, and then the mode switch, which again will AM upper lower sideband, things like that. So very, very useful that you've got those on the front of the radio. Now, as far as I'm aware, if it's the same as what I had before, there's no search or scan feature. Someone did say if you hold down... No, that just changes the VFO. So yeah, someone did say that if you press the VFO, it will go into search mode. That's not happening on mine. If I press the VFO, it changes to the BFO, the beat frequency oscillator, or the clarifier control, and that's really good actually. So I'm quite liking that. It's going to make things very, very good for sideband. Yeah, but I can't see a search function on the radio, so it's old school. It means you're going to have to manually set your step rate, and then you're going to have to go through and search for your shortwave stations. Obviously, if you're going for the ham radio band, you know where your 20 meters and your 40 meters are. But for shortwave, it means you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it manually. But there's no harm in that. That's how you learn to use a radio. Now, as far as the quality of goes, I mean, absolutely no complaints for £20. The front panel it's made out of a strange material. It feels like a printed circuit board, which I suppose is like a fiberglass, isn't it? And it's the same as the back panel. It has this printed circuit board affair, but no complaints whatsoever. Now, when we move on to the back, we have a decent BNC antenna connection. I think that's absolutely fine. Maybe would I think in some ways a BNC is better than a 239. I prefer 239 because it goes straight to my antenna. Little switch there to switch from the AM to the FM and sideband. Make sure you don't forget that, otherwise some people complain the radio's deaf, but they haven't put the switch across. Headphone socket, yeah, still on the back of the radio. Originally I moaned and said it should be on the front, and I still stand by that. If you're using headphones, you have to trail it round, but at £20 I'm not going to beat the radio up too much. Simple charge light for the LED, on off power selection. And now this is the change on from the original radio. So you've got USB-C type charging now. That's purely for the lithium-ion battery. I don't know the size of the battery in this from previous experience. I mean, you've just seen me boot up the radio. That's sat on the bench there, or on the shelf, for probably 6 months. and that one still boots up. But now you've got a mini USB, the old style. You've got a mini USB, and that is for, it says USB for download, but that's going to be for firmware updates, because this radio is supported on forums, and there are a lot of third-party firmware versions that you may wish to try. I mean, I'll be honest with you, personally, I quite like the standard firmware. I've never felt the need to update it, but I know a lot of you like to play. And yeah, we're talking a £20 radio, so I'd say, yeah, you know, fill your boots now. Even if you totally bricked it, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Now, one feature that remains on this radio, and I think this is really, really good, is a decent size speaker. I think it's about 3 inches, and because it's quite a nice metal case, tinny, of course, it's tuned for radio. It's not tuned for music, so it's tuned for vocals, but it does have a very, very clear sound, and that is important. The headphone socket, of course, is amplified as well, so it sounds really, really good. And that's really about it for an overview of the radio. Like I say, I'm not going to go through all of the controls. I did that on the original review. I'll link that in the description if you want to go away. Just remember that my conclusions on that original video was the fact that the radio was £50, and I would change that now. It is less than half at £20. So it's a pleasant sunny afternoon. So here's my setup. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Just going to use the standard telescopic whip antenna to start with. See what we get. I'll probably go straight into the handbands. I did have to put a little bit of tape on the back of it because it's a little bit floppy. As I say, I'm not going to beat the radio up at this price point. But anyway, let's connect the camera and see what we get.
What do you call that grammatically when someone goes, I'm never not going to dance again? 2 negatives, never not.
And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be among you and remain with you always. Amen.
To another drug in April of 2021.
We've continued to identify them ever since then. For about the first 12 months, we were primarily seeing nidazine.
Kim from Burnley says, I'm a dog walker by day and a belly dancer by night.
There we go, love it. Love it. That is sexy. Hey guys, this is from Charlie. I'm a traditional sign writer by day, but a weightlifter by night.
We tested are degrading in the blood, and there was on average 89% degradation of the nitazene going from that first sample to the last. So only 11% of nitazene on average was present.
Some people might say, well, there's still 11% there.
Making people happy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what happened was, I think all the clowns collectively got together and decided they wanted to be MPs instead, and so I, a natural politician, had to become a clown instead.
Text DRIVE to 60777. MyCarLoanClaims.co.uk is a trading style of a law co, an SRA-regulated law firm.
Una pena accesoria que impida a los agresores comunicarse a través de terceros. Actualmente ya se recoge que no
செய்திகள். கடந்த சில நாட்களாக தாங்கள் விவாதித்த இரு விடயங்கள் குறித்து அறிக்கை ஒன்றை வெளியிட்டுள்ளது.
Welcome to The Bridge, enlightening conversations on world cultures, life, and everything in between. Hey everyone, this is Jason Smith, host of The Bridge podcast from sunny California. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe.
Deutsche 73, thanks for calling. QRZ, Oscar 100 Alpha. Italy 2, Charlie Zulu Quebec. Good afternoon, you are 5 and 9.
This is a 300, so it's exactly the same engine size. It just looks a little bit different. I did say you found that. Not on normal TV, but on YouTube I certainly do. Yeah, why, do you know a channel you can recommend? Well, no, just go over. I trials the British or the World Round GP series, whatever. You'll see all the ones from the different countries. I think they've had 3 this year so far. Yes, you'll see Tony Bow.
Richard, and a very good early evening to you there, Jeff. GM8 OFQ, I think that's the call. G4M DB. I think we all tend to rattle our call signs off very quickly because we know them so well. And, if you're not used to that person, I haven't come across them before. You can hear the third movement.
And there you go. As you can see, I'm in the shed shack for the final conclusions. It's been a really warm spell at the end of April here in the UK. Not really complaining, but it's like been 27, 28 degrees today. It's way, way too hot for the main loft shack. So I'm back out in the shed where it all began with the CRT QT80 or 9900 Pro. Anyway, about this little radio. Well, normally I would do criticisms at this stage. And I really find it hard to criticise at the current price. I would probably say that maybe, even with the long whip antenna, maybe the FM performance isn't the best. It does have RDS, but I think other radios can do better on FM. It doesn't bring in as many signals or stations as you'd normally expect, but I don't really think you're going to be buying this for its FM performance. When it comes down to shortwave and certainly upper and lower sideband, well, it's got the SI4732 chip, so it's there, isn't it? It's going to be as good as any other radio with that chip. So yeah, it performs really well. Very old school, but really well. So I'm not really going to criticise it at this price. Now, this is the key thing, the price. I checked today on Banggood, and the price is actually just dipped below £20, and I should even get a little discount on that. It varies. I suppose it's the exchange rate. It goes up and down a little bit. So I would say to you, if you haven't already got one of these little ATS-20 radios, why they're so cheap, I would say get one. Certainly get one now, because I think the price is only going to go up. It can't stay this cheap forever. Great little radio. So that's it. So from Fred in his shed, literally, I'd like to say thank you for watching my video. I hope you're all well, and yeah, please stay safe. Thumbs up from me, and of course I will catch you all on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Fred's in the shed where the magic unfolds. Fred in the shed with his trusty CB. He's a friend to the lonely on a frequency.